social media is much more of a long-term game. Like we're not selling t-shirts. You may be selling t-shirts. And if that's the case, then yeah, I want 20 more sales. Fan freaking tastic, but put a number on it, right? Like I would like to get, one more DM a month. A DM is a direct message, one more DM a month, or I would like to try and get one loan a month. But then you got to put in the work for it. Okay. So that's a whole nother side note, but define your goals.
Welcome to the Simplified Social Marketing Podcast. I'm Chelsea Gardner, and if you're ready to make marketing clear, manageable, and fun with practical steps and effective tools, you are in the right place, my friend. Together, we'll untangle the complexities of marketing your business and transform them into clear, actionable steps. Let's dive in.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Simplified Social Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea Gardner, and I'm super excited today. We are actually going to be talking about creating a content calendar. So I know this is something that a lot of people want to do, strive to do, but still just don't, right? And creating a content calendar truly is something that is essential for staying organized, for being consistent with your social media, being able to kind of stay ahead, not feel so far behind. And again, social media is all about consistency, and a content calendar allows you to do that. It is a tool that can help you stay consistent, have the content, be ready to go. It can streamline your processes. And I'm going to walk you through step by step on creating one today. So first and foremost, I kind of already discussed this, but why do you need a content calendar? So I've got my bullet points on what I want to talk about. And I'm like, I dive into stuff before I even get to those bullet points. So why do we want to create a content calendar? Well, content calendar helps us, again, plan, organize our content in advance to stay consistent on social media. It allows us to keep our content aligned with our goals, right? So if we are trying to, promote a new loan program that just got pushed out, it aligns with that goal of marketing it to our clients, to our realtor partners, things like that. It is also a way to benefit us. And statistically, I love this statistic. I have it starred, but people who plan their content in advance are 60% more likely to be successful on social media, meaning you have the consistency, you're planning, you are 60% more likely to be successful, have that consistency, have your content showing up when you plan in advance. And so it also, one thing that I know content calendars do for me is reduce stress, right? You're not waking up in the morning being like, oh my goodness, I do not have content for today. I don't know what I'm posting about. Having a content calendar and then creating the content in advance allows you to take that stress off your plate. So the thing that we want to think about though, is making sure that we have the right tools for our content calendar. So when we think about creating a content calendar, there are several things that you guys can do. There are a gazillion tools that are available. And so I'm just going to share with you like some of my favorite tools and then maybe some other popular ones that maybe you're aware of as well. So obviously a simple spreadsheet, right? You can easily just go into Google, create a Google doc and create your content calendar. You can easily do that. There is nothing wrong with that. And when I first started my business 3 years ago, that's exactly what I did for my clients. Everything went into a Google Doc. I didn't have any fancy boards, all the things at that time. So I had a Google Doc and I just put their content, their captions, everything right into that Google Doc, and it worked out just fine. Now that I manage, a lot of stuff, it's a little different, but if you're just managing your own stuff, like a Google Doc is perfectly fine. You don't have to go and pay for all of this stuff. But if you do want something a little bit, easy to navigate, you can also maybe do a Google Calendar. So if you're like a Google Doc, it just gets overwhelming. It's too much. But a Google Calendar allows you to just, obviously it's already a calendar. So you can just go in on July 23rd and create your July calendar or your August calendar, right? And lay out each day's content right there in your Google Calendar. And the nice thing with Google is it integrates well with other Google services or Zapier. Another one that you could look at. So if you haven't heard of Asana, you may have heard of Trello. They're both very similar in the sense of that they have boards, tasks, cards, all the things. I personally use Asana. I have used Trello. I have also used ClickUp. I have just found Asana to be more user friendly for me. So that's what I use, but something similar to lay out your content. So you can take Asana or Trello or ClickUp or whatever, and you can create boards. And so, for example, how I manage my clients is I take, Chelsea Gardner, and then I lay out July, August, and underneath each of those boards. So July is a board, August is a board. And then under each of those boards is a task. And each task is titled the date that I'm posting. So let's take August, for example. I'm going to post August 1st, August 3rd, August 5th, August 7th, right? So then under the August board is tasks 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, right? And then inside each of those tasks is where I lay out my captions, I put the graphics, I put the hashtags. So you can easily create an entire content calendar inside of one of these like boards, like Asana, Trello, something like that. Google Calendar, again, is easy. Canva also has customizable templates. So you could easily go into Canva, search for calendar, and then create a calendar right in there. If you are a part of my social hub, I release content calendars in there every month that gives you content ideas. It is not, I don't recommend it to put like a full-on caption in there, but you can create the content part, the content ideas inside of a customizable calendar inside of Canva. And so let's now that you've decided where you're going to go, what you're going to use, let's talk about actually creating the content calendar and what that looks like kind of step by step. So first and foremost, you got to define your goals. You got to know what you want to achieve on social media. Are you looking for increased engagement? Are you looking for more followers? Are you looking for, more comments, more messages? I want to like combine messenger and messages all in one word. But are you looking for more messages? Are you looking for just brand awareness, getting in front of your ideal client? What are your goals? And try to refrain from, well, I just want leads, or I just want I need loans, or I want business, right? Yes, I get that aspect, but social media is much more of a long-term game. Like we're not selling t-shirts. You may be selling t-shirts. And if that's the case, then yeah, I want 20 more sales. Fan freaking tastic, but put a number on it, right? Like I would like to get, one more DM a month. A DM is a direct message, one more DM a month, or I would like to try and get one loan a month. But then you got to put in the work for it. Okay. So that's a whole nother side note, but define your goals. And then we're going to identify any key dates and events that are coming up. So mark any important dates on the calendar, holidays, launches, are there new programs coming out, right? Like July 1, Florida just had their Hometown Hero program launch. So are there launches coming out, new programs or promotions that you want to put on that calendar? Put it in there. And then we're going to start planning content themes. So you want to think of if you have a content theme or topic for each week, each month, each day. If you don't, I highly encourage you to sit down and think of content pillars that would benefit your ideal client. So when you think of content pillars, it's something that will help you create your content because you are going to bucket that into one of these 3 to 4 pillars. If it does not fall into one of those 3 to 4 pillars, then it's probably something that shouldn't go onto your feed and should go into your stories. So planning your content ideas, themes, topics, things like that is step 3. Step number 4 is then using that calendar to literally write out your content. So you are going to put, whether it's using Asana, you're going to put those content ideas. So one thing that I recommend, and it's kind of like a step 4 and a step 4A and a step 4B maybe. So obviously you're going to take those content topics and ideas, put them on the calendar. So if you're trying to post 3 times a week, you're going to put like, on Monday, it's an FAQ. On Wednesday is a definition. On Friday is a fun fact. And then on Saturday is a this or that, right? So that's kind of the content topics. But then like for B, that step is going to actually do the details of it. So you're going to create the caption to go with that content. So if you have Monday as an FAQ, well, first of all, what is the answer, or what is the question to the answer? What is the question and the answer, right? Yeah, frequently asked questions. So what's the question? And then you're answering it. My goodness. All right. So question, answer. You're going to write that caption out, and you're going to do that for the rest of the month or the rest of the next 2 weeks or whatever feels good to you. And then I guess we have a 4C. Maybe we just have 4 more steps. I'm not sure. I've lost track at this point. So then you are actually going to create the graphics around that. So I'm just talking about a content calendar, but then you are also going to go into Canva, create your graphics, or do your video recordings for your content for the month or for the 2 weeks. I do mine 2 weeks at a time for my clients. But if you can do it at a month, usually that's ideal. Okay. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. So we've got, let me recap. We got step 1, define your goals. Step 2, identify any key dates, times, events coming up in that month. Step 3, plan your content topics. Step 4 through 6, put the content topics on the calendar, write the captions, create the graphics and or videos. And then lastly, we're going to review and adjust every month. Obviously, when we're creating a content calendar, we want to make sure we're looking at our analytics and that we're reviewing what did well and what didn't. So when we create our content calendar for the next month, we are accommodating what did really well and adjusting that. And we want to make sure that we're staying flexible every month, right? In case new ideas pop in our head, changes populate, right? Like some industries, especially in the mortgage space, change drastically overnight. So you want to stay flexible. You want to, the good thing about having a content calendar too is the fact that you can go back and be like, oh, okay, I really want to post about, rates just dropped overnight. I want to talk about that, but I have a post going out today. Well, then reschedule that post to a couple of weeks out and then talk about what just happened, like what news is going on in the moment. That content calendar will help you realize when you're posting stuff and on what days. Okay. All right. And so let's kind of back up. So y'all know I love Canva. It is just one of the best tools that I find for all around use, whether that be content planning, whether that be graphic design. So if you are looking at using any of the tools, the ones that I use the most are going to be Canva and Asana. Those are the 2 things that I use religiously for my clients, for my business, to manage content calendars, content graphics, captions, all of the things. Canva allows you to really easily collaborate with a team, share the calendar, the graphics over. So if you are hiring someone like myself to do your social media, you can easily share stuff back and forth. And so I love Canva. It's one of my favorites. I love Asana. It's really easy to navigate and manage as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Those are the 2 main ones that I use. But at the beginning, I shared several other options that you can look at too. And so what are some tips that I can offer you for maintaining a content calendar? So let's see here. First and foremost, consistency is always going to be key when you are building an online presence. So sticking to a schedule as much as possible. I know things come up. I get it. Trust me. If you listen to this podcast, I go like a week every so often, sometimes 2 weeks with no episode. I get it. Stuff happens and sometimes other things fall off the bandwagon. Now, if I was more diligent about actually sticking to my schedule and or doing the content in advance, so I am going to be better the rest of the year. I am going to be recording a lot of my podcast well in advance. So when you do that, the consistency happens, and then people pay attention to your content because you're being consistent. And you also I kind of just talked about this, but be flexible, right? Be flexible to adjusting your content calendar. Be flexible for when, news updates, break and things like that, that you can adjust that posting schedule. And then I recommend putting time aside every week to really plan, review your content calendar, what's upcoming, what you've got scheduled. Is there anything that does need to change? Is there, for example, Hometown Heroes here in Florida runs out of money, and we have a post going out next week. Well, it's no longer a thing. So just kind of paying attention to some of that stuff. Use color coding labels. I am such a color coder. I use colored pens for everything, but you can really use color coding to differentiate between content types, platforms. So if you are creating a content calendar, let's say you're using Canva and you're laying stuff out in a content calendar inside of Canva, you can change the text color to pink if you want to do a reel, and orange if you want to do a text, and purple if you want to do a carousel post, right? So you can kind of differentiate between your content types. Or if you are someone who's trying to post different content across your platforms, you could do pink as your Instagram account, and blue is your LinkedIn, and purple is your TikTok, right? So you can definitely color code to kind of help maintain that content calendar efficiently. So some other things that I recommend, I told you guys in the beginning, don't overthink it. You guys can really have effective content calendars with a simple spreadsheet that has a date. Columns for a date, platform, post type, content details, right? All of that stuff can be really effective, and it's of no charge to you. And again, Canva also has a free platform, so it also easily color codes. So think about those types of things when you are building out a content calendar. Last but not least, one question that I get frequently is, how far in advance should I schedule my content, right? Because again, we're busy and we might think in our heads well, what if some news breaks next week? Or what if I want to post, an extra video or something like that? Cool, no problem. Post an extra video next week, post the news break next week, but at least you'll have your content already scheduled, ready to go and done for the 3 days to keep you consistent. And so what? You add a fourth. Fantastic, right? So I recommend I don't usually recommend more than a month ahead, especially in certain industries. There are some that you can really get away with going, 3-4 months in advance, but I definitely say ideally plan for a month ahead. If that sounds daunting to you, I get it. Go 2 weeks at a time. Set aside, a Sunday or a Monday or a Friday and knock out all your content for the next 2 weeks, every other week, right? Because you're doing it for 2 weeks in advance. So something like that would work. Absolutely. Batch your content. That's really helpful. And use templates. Go into Canva, use templates, use recurring templates for different content types. So if you are maybe I really want to post mortgage tip Mondays, then use the same content recurring template that you create and just use it weekly or monthly or whatever. So you're not having to recreate the wheel when you are doing these contents, when you are creating your content. Okay. I think I covered everything quickly, fast. I talk fast. You might have to listen to this twice. I apologize. But we covered today all about content calendars, the tools, step-by-step for creating one, tips for maintaining it, starting your own content calendar today. I hope doesn't feel as daunting as it did 20 minutes ago. But yeah, I hope this was super helpful for you. I always like to end my podcast with a call to action. Y'all, I am struggling today. A call to action. And so that call to action is literally, I want you to create content for the next 7 days. I want you to come up with content topics. I won't even make you come up with an entire content calendar, just content topics for the next 7 days. And if you want me to take a look at them, feel free to DM me. I'm at any social platform at the Chelsea Gardner. You'll find me most often over on Instagram at the Chelsea Gardner. But feel free to get into my DM, send me a message, and let me know what topics you created. And I'm happy to help come up with some if you need them. So I hope this was helpful, guys. I will chat with you on the next one. Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of the Simplified Social Marketing Podcast. Make sure to follow me on any of your favorite social platforms at the Chelsea Gardner. And don't forget to hit subscribe for your weekly dose of marketing magic. Until next time, my friend, remember to keep your marketing simple and effective.